and welcome to Coffee Break Blogging, where you'll learn to grow and monetize your blog in short, tactical installments you can use right away. Now here's the next episode in our series. Welcome back to another installment of Coffee Break Blogging, where this isn't just another podcast, it's a full course on building an online business based around your blog from scratch. My name again is David Risley, and if you want to catch up with us from the beginning, I want you to go to coffeebreakblogging.com to view the full archives and also get subscribed to the show if you're not already subscribed. Okay, with all that said and done, let's get to our topic for today. Today we're going to go into part 2 of how to determine and specify what to charge people, how to set your prices. And today I want to specifically talk about when is the right time to have a low price point. And this is a really important topic because I find that a lot of people really do try to lowball their price almost as if it's a crutch, like they're depending on it. Like you can't make sales unless you lowball the price or if you're giving discounts and coupon codes and things like that. Or I also see people who just instinctually go toward the low prices because, quite frankly, they're scared to charge anything more than that. And so we need to talk about this. We need to talk about when is the right time to use low prices and when it's not the right time to use low prices, okay? First of all, I want to go into a few side effects, a few negative side effects of relying on low prices in your business or even relying on discounts. The first one is that you're always in this mode of hunting for new sales. That's kind of a lot of pressure too when you're a business owner. You're constantly seeking new sales. You're constantly trying to entice people to make that purchase. You never can relax on that, actually. You don't have any consistent, dependable revenue. You're always hunting for that next hit. And it's just a lot of stress. It's not very much fun. Second one is that you're going to have to constantly have different sales and special offers and sales events and stuff like that. You know, what comes to mind for me on that one is car dealerships. Now, obviously, they're dealing with high ticket things, but have you ever noticed how they're constantly running some kind of a weird special, like around a holiday, the Labor Day special or whatever? It's always a special. Anytime you walk into one of those places, they've got some kind of a special going on. It's like they can't make sales without them. I've seen furniture stores like this. We don't want to be in that position as online business owners where we're constantly having to rely on sales, special offers, limited time events, stuff like that. We want to have a business that, we will use those things occasionally, but at the same time, we want to have a business that can make sales without relying on those kinds of gimmicks, okay? So one of the side effects of having those low prices all the time is that you're going to be relying on those types of things in order to make sales. Number 3, as a side effect for relying on low prices, is that you're going to have more demanding customers. Yes, you will have more demanding customers. You might think instinctually that people who pay the most are going to, demand the most from you. It's actually not true. Those people generally who pay more money for something, it's just something about them. They're generally not as demanding. Now, obviously, as the person who's selling something to them, you've got to deliver upon that. You need to more than deliver upon that. You need to treat those people like absolute gold, in fact. But in terms of, hassle factor, you're generally going to find that those who have paid less amount of money are going to be more hassle. They're going to make more little demands from you. They're going to complain the most. In fact, this will be a natural lead-in into the fourth side effect here, and that is you'll have higher refund rates and chargebacks. Now, that sucks. Chargebacks, but if you're not familiar with that term, that basically means that somebody used their credit card and then they turned around and disputed the charge. They called their credit card company or their bank and says, I don't recognize this transaction, which very often is not true. It's just their way of getting their money back in some cases. Now, there are legitimate reasons why chargebacks can happen. If they don't recognize the business name, if you didn't make clear to them that this is the name that's going to appear on your credit card statement, things like that, they might legitimately not know what that is. But Sometimes people just use that system to get their money back. It doesn't matter why. The thing is, generally speaking, and I've definitely noticed this in my business, is that those who pay the least for things are more likely to have higher refund rates or do chargebacks. I can tell you with the Blog Marketing Academy, this is a very, very low problem for me because I take really good care of my customers and I generally don't have these problems. But I can tell you with my first site with the PC Mech, my tech site days, I definitely did notice that. Lower price point stuff. I had people requesting, refunds. I mean, we're over a few dollars, and it's like, whatever. I just give it back. But it's just a hassle factor for support. And then the last side effect here that you definitely need to be aware of if you rely on low prices and discounts in your business is that you're essentially training your customer base to expect and wait for discounts or free and cheap things. Okay? Now, that's going to make it a lot harder for you to make money in the long run if your people are basically waiting for the next sale because you do them so often they know that they're coming. Or if you give so much for free that they're just going to wait for it for free, they're going to wait for that coupon code, and it's just going to get in the way. Now, there's a couple of places that come to mind as an example of this that maybe you have seen. One of them is Udemy, udemy.com, the big training site with lots of courses and stuff that you can buy. Now, you'll go there and you'll see courses for sale for like, $299 or something. And you would think, wow, that guy must be making bank. No, they're absolutely not, because almost all of Udemy's instructors are opted into their promotional program, and Udemy relies heavily on discounts and coupon codes. So that person who's got that course listed for $299, I bet you they very rarely make a sale unless it's like $10. I mean, it's significantly discounted in a lot of cases. My wife not too long ago purchased 3 courses on Udemy and they were listed for like in the hundreds. And she bought 3 of them for $10 each because it was a special offer. People just don't buy things that much on udemy.com unless they're getting massive discounts. And that really does harm the potential revenue of working with Udemy. Another example is the App Store, the Apple App Store. It's amazing sometimes the level of complaints that you will get over charging 99 cents for a freaking app. Or if you go, God forbid, you charge more than 99 cents, everybody has a heart attack. Whereas you go out into the regular world and you might even pass by 99 cents laying on the ground and you won't even bother to bend over and pick it up. But for some reason in the App Store, people freak out over that. It's because the price points in the App Store are so low habitually that it's trained the customer base. Now, obviously, Apple has a lot of other things going on. They've got that back end in place, and Apple makes a lot of darn money. But if you are a developer, you've got to work these things in order to make good money in the App Store. Okay, so just keep that in mind. You don't want your business to be in that situation. So with all that being said and done, you might conclude that there's never a good time to have low prices, and that's definitely not true. We need to talk about the flip side of all this, and that is, when is it a right time to have low prices? And it comes down to 2 words: customer acquisition. It's the idea of getting new customers into the fold. That is the exact right time to have low prices, okay? The idea here is to have a low barrier to entry, to turn a free prospect or just simply an email lead into a customer as soon as possible. Ideally, when somebody gets onto our email list, ideally they will become a customer right away. We want to immediately advance that relationship from a freebie seeker who, somebody who's just interested in your lead magnet or whatever and wants to walk, and we want to, as quickly as possible, move them up into the status of customer. And it really doesn't matter how much they spend. Even if they've only spent $1 with you, just that simple act of giving you that dollar turns them into a customer, and it completely changes the nature of the relationship between you and that person. And that is the exact right time to offer low prices as a way to get people into the customer base of your business. Now, the key here is that you want to always have a follow-up plan to that low-hanging fruit. If you don't, then you're going to be relying on these low prices, and that is a recipe for just lots of headwinds. You're going to have a really hard time growing your business. So you always need to have that follow-up plan. The money is not made on the front end. It's not. You're not going to get rich on the back of $7 ebooks, okay? Where the money really gets made is on the back end. You need to have those higher priced things. And really all the cheap front-end product type stuff, the entire purpose of that is to turn them into a customer, get them, having that type of relationship with you. And then they're a lot more likely, if you're doing a good job, of becoming a customer over and over again or buying higher priced things from you. And that's where the real money gets made. Okay. So I want to give you a few examples of proper uses of low prices. And these are things that are not even on the internet. These are things that you see out in the offline world. The first example is the free AC check, like air conditioner. So you see this with auto mechanics all the time, where they'll send out pamphlets, or they'll have some special where they'll change your oil for like $10, or they will do a free AC check or something like that. Really, what that is a way to get you into their store. That's all it is, okay? And so you go in there thinking, I'm going to get my oil change for $10 or whatever, and yeah, they'll do it. But don't be surprised if they come at you with a few other additional things they recommend that you do to your vehicle. That $10 AC check, you'll walk out spending $100 or more. And it's nothing dishonest there. It's just that that's how they get you into the door, and that's the exact function of the low price. They're making their money on all those follow-up sales. Another example, if you go to the Black Friday, in late November, the Black Friday holiday. Well, it's a shopping holiday, really. And very often what you'll find stores do is they will have some insane deal, like on a laptop or a TV or something like that, like something like really, really cheap laptop for $99. But then they say limited quantities, like the first 10 or something like that. So what do you have happen? You have people literally lining up outside the darn store to get that. Well, what happens there? Well, obviously that special offer sells out real fast, but then everybody's in there and they start buying other stuff. The low price got them in there, and they're going to buy other things, and that's where the money gets made. Another idea, in the fast food business, where you get like the 99-cent hamburgers or something like that. Really good deal. You get a hamburger for 99 cents. But of course, you want fries, you want a Coke, you want this and that. You end up spending $4 to $5, $6 anyway. That's how it's a front-end offer. It gets you in the door. They make their money on the follow-up sales. So these are all offline examples you've seen time and time again. The exact same thing applies to our online businesses. When you're going to have a cheap product sitting out there, floating out there, or you put it after a lead magnet opt-in, it needs to serve a function, and that is to turn them into a customer, but then you need to have a plan after that. Okay, you need to have the plan. Now, this is the perfect time to remind you about the Blog Monetization Lab at blogmonetizationlab.com. This is my core training program at the Blog Marketing Academy, and this is the perfect time to mention it because what we're talking about here is a core part of the blog profit funnel that I guide everybody to build. And so I've got people who are making their first sales in their front-end products right now inside the lab, and they are putting that back end in place because they know that's where the money will get made, and they're going to make a lot of money with those, having that proper funnel structure in place. So if you want to learn all about that and build it for yourself, you can get started today for less than $1 a day at blogmonetizationlab.com. Okay, hopefully that was helpful. And by the way, if you're finding all these episodes helpful, you're finding this full online podcast course known as Coffee Break Blogging helpful to you. And if you've not posted a review and a star rating for me yet inside of iTunes, I would really appreciate it if you could pay me back by doing that. It really helps me get the word out about Coffee Break Blogging and expand the community here. So if you could jump on over to blogmarketingacademy.com/iTunes, that will redirect you right into iTunes, and you can drop that review for me. An honest review, of course, but I'd love to hear what you think of the podcast. Okay, thanks so much for listening, and I will see you next time where we'll continue talking about setting your pricing. Thanks for listening to this episode of Coffee Break Blogging. If you like what you heard here today, we have something awesome we'd love to send you. It's called the Blog Conversion Guide, and it has 9 tweaks you can make to your blog in order to increase your conversion rate to get more opt-ins and sales. As one of our listeners, we'd love to give you access to this guide absolutely free. You can get your copy right now by going to coffeebreakblogging.com. Again, go to coffeebreakblogging.com to get your copy, and we'll see you next time.